Fawcett.
Here.
Table.
Here. So everyone will please stand. Father Chris will give our invitation this evening.
Let us pray. Gracious and loving God, we give you thanks and praise for all the blessings you poured out upon us as a community here in Lewis County. We ask you to continue to bless the work of our legislators and all the other local bodies, all the nonprofits working here in our county. Guide our conversation tonight and continue to bless the people of Lewis County, especially those who are suffering from the loss of climax. Continue to bless them and be with them. We ask this in your holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge to the flag. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Begin this meeting by letting the people of Lions Falls know how grateful I am that you allowed the county to come into your community and host our meeting here. I understand there was some people that were inconvenienced by our being in the library, and I apologize for that, but I do appreciate the fact that we were able to come here tonight, and to me it's of historical significance. I don't know if any time any meeting was ever held anywhere else other than the county courthouse. So it means a lot to us, and I hope you enjoy us coming here and look forward to traveling elsewhere if you'd like us in your community. With that, we'll go on to business. Report of has everyone seen the April 5th meeting minutes? Any additions or corrections? If not, they stand approved. Or the Rules and Legislation Committee per Rule 6, Terry?
The Rules and Legislation Committee is met, and they recommend to waive the rules to act upon late resolutions this evening.
Moved by Brian, second by Craig. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We move on to privilege of the floor. I believe at this time we'll have a message of welcome from Lions Falls Mayor Katie Linebacker. Katie, you have the floor.
It's going to be difficult. Where should I stand? Maybe over here. So, Lewis County legislators, thank you very much for coming to Lions Falls. Also, our county manager, Liz Swearingen, and attorney Joe McNichol, county treasurer Patricia O'Brien, and county legislative clerk Terry Clark. That's very difficult to say. Lions Falls is in two townships, Lionsdale and West Turin. And because of that, we're very fortunate to have two legislators represent us, which is Larry Daltoff and Rocky Fawcett. And thank you very much for all that you do for us in our village. No man is an island, no village is an island, no village is self-sufficient. We must rely on others to go forward. Partnerships are needed. We are fortunate to have several strong partnerships. The Development Authority of the North Country that was just here, Tug Hill Commission, and of course, Lewis County. The county has assisted Lions Falls with a long list of projects. To name a few, in 2011, the County Department of Transportation replaced our Center Street Bridge. They saved us several $1,000s for that. And the Economic Development and Planning Department, they helped us get a grant through USDA Rural Development, and that paid for the materials for the bridge. Not only that, but Lewis County Economic Development and Planning Department have assisted our village with several grants through the years. Most recently, the BOA, which is short for Brownfield Opportunity Area. The county is the applicant on behalf of our village for the BOA. The BOA is a grant through the Department of State. The long-range primary community revitalization objectives of BOA is to create businesses and employment opportunities. We are in the process of beginning the BOA implementation step 3. You'll be hearing more about that soon. The Economic Development and Planning Department also assisted us in obtaining the Brownfield Designation Award. Lyons Falls is the only village in northern New York to receive this Brownfield designation. That designation allows us to apply for grants that other brownfield villages are not able to apply for. So that gives us a big advantage. Most recently, the county is helping the village with an engineer study so that we can get water to the United Cerebral Palsy home, which is to be built on Park Place. This home will bring in an estimated 15 to 20 new jobs. So we're hoping that that goes through. The biggest project that Lewis County has contributed is the cleanup of the vacant mill site. Your interest and contribution is greatly appreciated by our village. The cleanup is a major step in the redevelopment and future jobs for not only our village, but the whole county. And I can go on for an hour about everything that you have done, but I will not. But we appreciate everything that you've done for the village and everything that you have done for Lewis County. Before I give the meeting back to Chairman Table, I would also like to thank Kelly's Dance Academy for not having classes tonight. Someday we hope to have a soundproof ceiling here. Maybe we'll get a grant for it. The village board is very appreciative of the sacrifice that the academy has made. We are extremely apologetic to the academy's students and parents for the inconvenience and concern we've caused by having the legislative meeting here in our historical library. I'd also like to thank the library and Lyons Falls Live for hosting the meeting tonight. There's a lot of goodies back here in case you get hungry. So in closing, thank you for being our partner here in Lyons Falls. We really appreciate it. We appreciate everything that you have done and will be doing for us. And thank you for having me here.
Thank you, Katie.
Thank you.
Next, for the privilege of the floor is members of the Habitat for Humanity. And how this started a couple months ago, a small committee met with a few of us at the courthouse to discuss their ideas on what they would like to do for a house in Lewis County. And what it led to was a request to possibly pull an item from the tax auction to see if it's something they could use. So legislators so far have agreed to pull a parcel, and tonight we actually have a resolution to decide if we will turn it over to the Habitat. But I asked Father Chris and his members to come tonight to explain a little bit to the whole board on what their intentions are, and possibly legislators would have some questions for them as well. So Father Chris, I know you've got a few people here. I don't know. I know Tom Gillette and well, I'll let you introduce him, Father.
Well, good evening, everyone. I see a lot of friends around the table. I appreciate it. There are a lot of members of Habitat for Humanity here tonight. The executive director from Habitat is standing at the door. I told him he couldn't sit because he's from Jefferson County originally, but he was a chair. He came up tonight on my request very happily. Renzer is here tonight, Tom Gillette, and any of the members of our committee. To give you a little bit of a background, over the last 4 years, we have been part of an informal housing group here in Lewis County. And we were called together by Reverend Herb Swanson of the First Presbyterian Church, who has been an excellent leader. He called together a group of concerned citizens, pastors, and others to see how we can help to address the housing need for affordable housing here in Lewis County. And then if you remember a couple years years ago, we had the Housing Summit at the Elks. A number of you came for that. It was very successful. A large group came. And then at the Maple Ridge Center, we had, was it last year?
I think so.
A year and a half ago, maybe?
About a year and a half.
A brainstorming session, and we brought in local builders and financiers and contractors just to kind of talk about how do we improve the housing stock here. Not just affordable housing for lower end, but all the way across the scale, because it's even an economic development issue, as you know. If you don't have housing, you can't attract a company to come in and bring more jobs. One thing, that's real brief history, one thing that came from the last meeting at Maple Ridge Center was, what can we do to bring Habitat for Humanity back to Lewis County? And maybe about 15 years ago, would you say, they did a project up behind the hospital. And that's the last time they had any activity here in Lewis County. Their charter, although it's Thousand Islands Habitat for Humanity, their charter is Jefferson and Lewis County, and they've been desiring to come back to Lewis County, but they really needed local support and local interest. So from this informal housing meeting, one of the suggestions was bring them back. We reached out to them, and they very generously and very receptive said, we would love to have a project back in Lewis County, but we need local support. We need people that'll, some sweat equity, who will actually build a house, but we need people who will organize it in local committees. We will support it 100% from our main offices, they said, but we need local support. So that's why some of the people you see here today, including myself, and I'm just a spokesperson, I'm not in charge of anything. I'm just here, I'm your PowerPoint, right? So, I'm on the site committee. So our job was to find a house in Lewis County. And I think it's helpful to point out that Habitat, as you know, is known for building projects from the ground up. And that's certainly, they've always done wonderful with that. President Jimmy Carter really has championed that. You can picture his face on there. But they also can rehab existing houses, and we thought that perhaps in Lewis County, considering a lot of our housing stock is in need of repair, that we could kill two birds with one stone and take an old house that was not doing well, and we could refurbish it, repurpose it, and then get someone who could afford to live there and pay a mortgage into that house. That's when we approached the county. Off the tax list, we identified a few different properties. We narrowed it down to one in Seaville, and you generously were willing to at least pull it off the auction list for our conversation tonight. So we're here to beg the county legislators, I think that's what they chose because I'm so used to asking for money. We're here to ask the county if they could turn over ownership of that parcel to Habitat for Humanity, and Habitat would then put together local resources, refurb the house, find a family, place them in the house, and do everything that they do so well for so many years. So that's why we're here. Questions?
Father, one of the questions I was asked was, once this house is turned over to Habitat, do you have a budget that allows you to do this reconstruction, or is that another problem?
One of the committees, one of the local committees, is fundraising. There's a committee to select family, committee to do fundraising, committee to do the bill, the actual contract folks that go in there, not contractors, but people who look at the bill. So part of the budget committee, the fundraising committee, would be to solicit funds for work, as well as even so materials from different folks. So some of that is you can buy it at cost from our local contractor, as well as beg for generous donations from that as well. One thing we don't think we're going to have any problem with from all the feedback we've got a lot of people who are saying, well, let me know when you're ready to build, because I have a youth group that wants to work. I have people that work with me that would like to. A lot of people we think are really going to respond to physically doing the work on the house. And a family who would be selected for the house has to actually work on the house as well. I've just become familiar with how Habitat works, and I asked Ryan to come to it. I know this much about it. But I know that the family themselves has to put in that sweat equity and donate a certain amount of hours to physically work on the house as well.
How many people are active within your Lewis County habitat?
Well, I would say the local for this, if I had to guess, about 25. That's a group of not just pastors, but people from all the different churches, and then just local folks. I would say, I mean, like on my committee, the committee in which I am a member of, I'm the coordinator, I'm not even the chairperson. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's 5 on my committee, 6 on my committee. And that's just one of the committees, and every committee has an equal number. Please.
Father, I guess one question is, what time frame do you say? Is it a year, year and a half, 2 years for this project to come to completion?
Well, I really think that if the county is willing to turn over the house to Habitat, that is going to be the jump start. Everybody's working behind the scenes. It's only been maybe not even a year that we've been talking directly with Habitat, so things have been moving very quickly. But once, if we say to the rest of the group, okay, we have a house, then they're going to start moving. So when did we envision the actual build to start? Within a year?
Well, if I may,
Please.
one of the things on the schedule that affects, even regardless of where we're at building, is grants and grant application cycles. We do a grant through New York State Habitat in the realm of $30,000. That the application cycle is in the fall, December timeframe, and then actually you can collect about a year later. So the best world for us is to start in the spring when the weather breaks and anticipate closing on the house or putting the family in the house around Thanksgiving, Christmas time, so that closure is at the same time the funds are available. If the family gets done, if we get done with the project early, we can make some rental agreements for a short period of time to reach that window of opportunity and get the family in a little early. It's just a kind of moving around the pieces of the chess game. Going back to your question on financing, the affiliate has funds currently in stock. We do have the Carthage project agreement, but we also have partnerships with Community Bank, Carthage Federal Bank, Development Authority of North Country, that have provided zero interest, short-term loans, that if we got into a situation where we're running into the red for a short period of time until it closes, the grant money comes out, then those funds can all be replaced back to the loan and take on. So from our end, at the director's end, we don't have a concern of funding both the Carthage project as well as the Lewis County project. The one advantage that they have with the rehab is certain pieces that we have to do in a new house, such as foundation, structural framing, maybe windows and stuff. We don't do that because it's already exists, obviously. You're just stripping down to the stud and re-insulating, those kind of things. So, again, financing concerns for this, we don't have a lot of concerns at this point, particularly if we're going to start later in the year. One of the things that happens too in the cycle is we use volunteers to roof a house for safety and OSHA concerns and OSHA compliance. So stuff that we would then depend on the contractor for, like roofing, could happen this year ahead of that other cycle, and you would still see growth and change on that house and in the community, but it wouldn't affect next year's cycle of trying to close with the grants and other bank loans.
So when you complete this house and you give it to the people, do you give them the deed? Is the house in their name at that point that they move in, or do you?
Yes, they would get a mortgage, the same as you or I, that then entitles it to them with, if something happens, they don't make their payments, there's possibility of taking it back, something like that.
Right.
But everything will happen the same as whether you or I are building and buying a house for them.
Thanks for what you do,
Thank you.
really.
Any other questions? No, we got a resolution.
Yeah.
Okay. I think you're off the hook for now.
Thank you. I'd rather read
preach.
I was just gonna ask you how that compared to a sermon.
Yeah, sermon's a lot easier.
Anyone else for privilege of the floor? Any public comment at this time? Okay, move on to presentation of communications and notices.
The board acknowledges receipt of resolutions adopted by the following county legislatures in New York. Schoharie County calling upon the state legislature to increase the share of revenue counties retain for providing state DMV services. From Seneca County opposing the New York State Labor Commissioner's order to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour for employees of fast food chain restaurants. From Livingston and Schoharie counties calling on the state legislature to fully reimburse counties for district attorney salary increases set by the state. And from Delaware County to solidify veterans' rights when seeking non-VA care to provide a no-nonsense and clearly understood authorization system that ensures the veteran will not be billed for emergency services by non-VA care facilities or providers. And that concludes.
Okay, thank you, Terry. Now reports of the county officers and departments. Terry?
Yes, legislators have received copies of the treasurer's April report, the April 25th solid waste and highway audit reports, minutes of the January 19 Public Health Services Advisory Committee, and the April 20th Youth Advisory Board meeting. The treasurer and real property tax director have submitted approved reports for a refund of 2013 and 2014 real property taxes for Lauren S. Bauber in the town of Diana in the total amount of $50.55. And that concludes reports.
Okay, thank you, Terry. Go on to reports of standing committees. Phil, Ways and Means, Buildings and Grounds.
Thank you. Like Mike said, my name is Phil Hathaway. I've been on the board since 2009, and I am the chairman of the Ways and Means and Buildings and Grounds Committee. That generally means that we typically have a general supervision of all the fiscal affairs and everything related to the treasurer's office. So that includes the budgeting, the borrowing, the appropriations, with recommendations to the full board. We are over the day-to-day, and then we make the if we're gonna do something, we make a recommendation to the full board for their vote. We have the general supervision of the county clerk's office, and obviously buildings and grounds. We're responsible for the maintenance, repair, the furnishing of the county buildings and the grounds surrounding them, including remodeling, reconstruction, and there again with the board approval. And actually, in our rules and that we go by, it also says we take care of the farmland in the county. The county-owned farmland, which we don't have a whole lot of that. Anyway, I just thought I'd give you a general idea of what this committee does. Yeah, for my report, regarding the county clerk first, after trying it for a couple of weeks, the union has notified us that they've decided early hours at the DMV are not something they want to do. We had tried to open the DMV at 7:30 as a convenience to our people, and they agreed to it initially, and now they've decided that that's not really something they care to do. So effective Monday, we'll be back to 8:30 opening. The county clerk's budget is on target. One thing that we spent considerable amount of time with at our last meeting was a discussion with several attorneys about a user fee that we're implementing. We have been supplying a service online where 27 attorneys, appraisers, real estate people could access all the county clerk's records online, day, night, midnight, didn't matter when, and print off everything they needed to where they didn't have to come into the county clerk's office, which they used to have to do. So that was implemented as a test case about 5 years ago. And we decided that perhaps it might be in the best interest to start charging for that service, particularly considering all our neighboring counties charge for that service as well. Our charge would be $1,200 a year plus 65 cents for every copy that they do. They really thought that we were singling them out, and we were doing it arbitrarily and unfairly. We didn't necessarily take that same view, obviously, because we passed the resolution, but we kind of viewed it as they were paying for a service, the 27 people, that previously the 27,000 people of the county had been paying for and supplying to them at no cost. So we did have, like I say, a lengthy discussion with them. It lasted probably an hour, and they asked for a little more information. We're going to get them some more information, and we'll be meeting with them again. Probably at the very most, the county would, at the very most, would probably take in around $13,000 with this. And I should say, again, one thing that the attorneys brought up was that the county clerk's office does operate at a surplus. It has been for several years. The problem is the surplus has been diminishing for several years because of the state doing online registrations and that type of thing, that has really diminished our ability to recoup funds. But that started out to be a big issue with them, that we did have a profit, so to speak, of 50,000. But then towards the end, it didn't become that much of an issue again. So anyway, that takes care of county clerk. Buildings and grounds, we authorized our superintendent to contract with Alpine Fence to furnish and install handrails at the VSS building beside the walkway going to soil and water. He went out for 3 bids. This was by far the cheapest. We authorized him to do energy upgrades at the record storage building. The payback is not as quick as it usually is. Typically, the payback would be in the neighborhood of 30 months. This is probably going to be double that because the usage isn't that great. But we still got bulbs into place. So we felt like, if nothing else, for convenience but for safety as well, to upgrade and have some proper lighting in there. We continue to work on the workplace safety issues. The abatement at the highway garage has been completed, and we're back in there. We have asked them to limit their access to the break room because we want to paint the floor and take care of any future issues that might come up to do that. We did a test on the beams underneath the paint shop, and the beams have lead paint on them. We were concerned about the spalling concrete, whether that might have PSPs in it, but it doesn't. So we would like to go out for an RFP, just an RFP at this point, to see what sandblasting those beams and the spalling concrete would cost. That way we could get a better picture of any degradation in the beams and what we might have to do for corrective actions. I would make, again, we're just beginning the price, we have to come back to the board for a commitment. But I would make a motion that we go out to sandblast the beams and see what we get.
Moved by Phil, second by Dick. Further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Also, buildings and grounds, the church next door, not next door to here, next door to the courthouse, approached us to see if there was any interest in that small building right behind the church. We went over and looked at it after our meeting, so we haven't really discussed it yet, and we guess the interest might be described as lukewarm at this point, but we're gonna discuss it. And maybe there might be some other options for nonprofits to use it. Regarding solar, per the board's authorization at the last meeting, we at that point authorized our attorney, Joan McNichol, to come to an agreement with Green Skies on an adjusted PPA. She evidently put on her red hard hat and got tough with them, and they did compromise somewhat, so she was able to gain us back $54,000 of what we were potentially going to lose. So now, the savings on the project over the 20 years would be $2,764,000. That would be, and we would take away the connection fees, whichever they might be, and also the 25% that we're going to pledge to the hospital. But that, Joan has gotten the documents. Have we signed them and returned them?
They're in the process.
Okay. Also, Joan has prepared the easement documents to the adjoining landowner to cut the trees and sent that out to them. Frank Pace is working on coordinating the work plan and also interface with the village regarding the zoning. Regarding the DSS lot, and this will complete my report, Mike, I promise. Regarding the DSS lot, the contractor's there completing the final items of it. The biggest issue we have at this point is the retention pond. We don't feel like the retention pond is working the way it should, the way it was designed, and the way we were told it was going to. So we're still working on that with them, and them being the contractor and the engineer, and we will probably be getting together with all that group in the very near future to discuss how to take care of those issues.
Did we have problems with runoff or something that it didn't handle, Phil?
We had problems with runoff in the winter, yes, when we had the really bad rains there, and that we think is mitigated properly. He being the contractor, took it upon himself to do a few things, and the engineer recommended a higher grade as well. So between those two things, it looks real good, and if the grass gets a good opportunity to take hold, it really looks like it's gonna be okay. If not, it's a year from the time we take it over, that he's gotta fix it again. But I'm pretty comfortable about that, Brian.
Okay, we had icy problems at the bottom of the driveway. Was that part of that?
That was part of that problem, because that drain was not working properly. It wasn't slowing down enough, basically, because it was able to flow over, and once it did that initial time, then.
Thank you.
Phil, the savings in the solar that you mentioned, those are the conservative numbers. It could be more than that depending on sunshine, right?
Good point, Dick. The numbers that I quoted, the 2.7 million, is the guaranteed number in the contract. And so, in all probability, it will be more than that, because those people obviously were conservative in their guarantees to us. I would imagine it would be. They're business people, so we would anticipate the savings would be more than that. Thank you, Dick.
And this is all contingent on if we make it through that next round, correct?
If we get that contract back to them, and them being Green Skies, and they send in that $20,000, we're in this block 3.
We are in
Right, John?
for
Yes,
sure.
and it's not, this is it, no
Okay.
further adjustments,
further
even if we're not in that block.
But I know, Phil, you mentioned the connection fee. Do we yet know what that might be?
Not,
But that comes off the top of that number you mentioned, the 2.7?
that comes off of the top, that would, and what we've said, if we've said that it could be up to $500,000.
Right.
We don't anticipate that, but that's what we've said, and if it goes over that, we have an opportunity to say, no, we're not gonna do it.
So we don't really know.
We don't know until NIMO does their thing, and they're not gonna dive into it until they get their $20,000. So, but they're supposed to respond within 15 days, right?
In terms of locking us into the block.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then but they do
And then
have
they have to
X
do a
amount of
further
time to tell us,
Right.
you know, what it's gonna take for the connection. We have they have given some documents that some of us have perused, and that is beyond me, but it might be that the wires can handle it, which that was gonna be probably one of the larger issues. So we're cautiously optimistic.
Thank you.
Oh.
Sorry, we extended his time.
Thank you for the detailed report, Phil.
My time is done.
Rocky, Social Service, Office of the Agent.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm Rocky Fawcett, and I'm the new boy in town, so to speak. And the areas I'm responsible for, Department of Social Services, Office of the Aging, and the Youth Bureau. And I'll give you some updates on those areas. First, starting with Social Services. May is Foster Parent Month, and the Department of Social Services would like to publicly thank all of our current and former foster parents for opening their hearts and homes to children in need in Lewis County. Without these selfless families providing love and support for our children, we could not succeed in the healing process. The heat cooling system opens on May 2nd. In order to qualify for this program, households must meet the heat income guidelines, and there must be a statement form, a physician, that the applicant suffers from a documented medical condition exacerbated by extreme heat. Households that currently have a working air conditioner less than 5 years old will not be eligible. A Lewis County workplace saw 462 people for the month of April due to the climax closure. The workplace is located at the DSS office building. We'll be sponsoring several events and workshops in May. May 5th, the workplace is sponsoring a resume workshop from 9:30 to 11:30 and mock interview workshop from 1:30 to 3:30. May 9th, Kelly Services is having a job fair from 10 to 2. May 10th and May 17th are job fair preparation workshops from 1:30 to 3 both days. May 24th is the Lewis County Job Fair being held at the Loudville Fire Hall from 10 to 2. And I need to make a motion to authorize refilling a full-time social services office specialist due to an impending retirement effective 6/18/2016.
Moved by Rocky, second by Andrea. Discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried.
Updates from the BOL, OFA, Office of the Aging. Mary Molly Millette has joined the OFA staff as our Nutrition Services Coordinator, Registered Dietitian, effective April 18th. Welcome, Molly. Mayors for Meals event was a success. This is an annual national campaign intended to increase awareness and community engagement to support our senior neighbors. We had 7 elected officials, 4 advisory council members, and 1 legislator's spouse, that's my wife Mary, participate at 5 of the 6 site locations. Thank you all for your support. Upcoming events, Lewis County Public Health Emergency Preparedness Training at Bridgeview Inn on May 4th. OFA Director and coordinators are participating in this important half-day event. Mother's Day meal at all sites, May 9th. You're welcome to join us.
Do you have to be a mother?
No, you can go, Phil.
All right.
New York Office for the Aging Senior Citizens Day Recognition Event 2016, recognizing older New Yorkers who demonstrate the power of making a difference through civic engagement, May 10th in Albany. as the winner of the OFA 2015 Randy Streeter Senior Citizen of the Year Award, Joan E. Davis, Joni, will be one of the many individuals across the state who will be honored at this event. Brendan, Nancy, and Jackie will be accompanying Joni to this celebration. Mental Health Awareness Walk at Loudville Fire Hall, May 12th. Registration at 4 p.m. OFA and New York Connects to participate with informational table to provide community outreach. Lewis County Suicide Awareness 5K Walk Run at Lewis County Fairgrounds, May 14th. Registration at 5 p.m. OFA and New York Connects to participate with informational table to provide community outreach. Adult immunizations presentations by Lewis County Public Health, starting at 11:30 a.m. at the following meal sites in May. May 18th, Harrisville. May 24th, Crogan. May 26th, Maple Ridge Center in Loudville. June is Dairy Month. Tour and Senior Forum at Mercer's Dairy in Boonville, June 1st, starting at 10 a.m. Dementia Conversations presentations by Alzheimer's Association at Maple Ridge Center, June 8th at 10:30 to noon. Attendees invited to have lunch at meal site following the program. Senior Citizens Day at Lewis County Fair. OFA and New York Connects will have an informational table in the pavilion for a full week, 7/19 to 7/23, to provide community outreach. We are seeking legislators, advisory council members, and other volunteers to assist at the table. Please contact Leah at 376-5313 to secure your time slot. And that's it for the Office of the Aging. Last one is the Youth Bureau. Village of Port Leyden Mayor Collins. Heather Collins, newly appointed Mayor of Port Leyden, asked for the Youth Bureau membership for ideas to increase youth recreational offerings for age 7 to 15 in Port Leyden. 2016 National Night Out. Discussion was held regarding an alternative date other than September 11th, which falls on a Sunday for this annual event. Additionally, the Northern Center for Independent Living requested to co-sponsor the event with the Youth Bureau, Sheriff's Office, and Lewis County Opportunities. This year's Night Out event will be held on Thursday, September 8th at the Lewis County Fairgrounds, and NRCIL will partner up with the Youth Bureau in co-sponsoring the event. And this one is especially for you, Phil. Northern New York Living Magazine, the spring 2016 issue of Northern New York Living Magazine recognized students who make a difference. Tyler Eddy, Youth Bureau student representative from Harrisville Central School, was recognized in the magazine. Congratulations, Tyler. 2016 county project funding, $5,000 available. At the Youth Bureau meeting, May meeting, the board will be reviewing applications and awarding the funding. This funding must be used for direct services to youth and can be used to support existing youth programs where were eliminated or for a new youth program. To date, 6 applications have been received. And that does me for my reports, and I hope I was quicker than Phil.
Got a couple minutes. Thank you, Rocky. Brian, County Officers, Veterans, Junkyard, HR.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Brian Mosier. I represent District 4, Town of Bremen. I only have one town, but I have something even more unique than what you do, Katie, with 2 legislators. Mike and I share the Catholic Church in the village of Crogan. I don't know what parts mine are his, but the line goes through the church sometimes.
He's probably got the confessional, you got the altar.
So we have something a little more unique.
I stay on Cronin side.
Do you know Father by any chance?
I don't know.
So anyways, I'm chairman of our county officers, veterans, junkyard, and HR committees. And as you will hear from me tonight, that I don't have much to report on because except for HR that meets every month, there's no minutes pretty much kept except for confidential minutes because it's about our employees. So most of the stuff we discuss is confidential, except for approving new positions and stuff, then that's all public. So our veterans and junkyards, which I just asked Jerry because I was on vacation, we didn't meet this month at all. They didn't meet this month at all because veterans, generally what we do is, unless there is a personnel issue, we talk about the numbers, the financials, and the quarterly reports from the Veterans Association, so. But to give you a little idea though, our veterans, and I think I have some notes here, because I know a lot of people don't come to our regular meetings, but our veterans department, just to give you an idea from last month, last quarter, Mr. Davies and Steve Kilinowski generated $148,000 last quarter for veterans within our county. So we have 2,283 veterans in this county, and that's 1/10 of the whole county population. So we have a lot of veterans in this county. So those are the type of numbers that we listen to and that we receive from our veterans committee, or our veterans director. As far as junkyard, we meet every other month because our junkyard review board only meets every other month. So we work daily our junkyard because Building Codes does our junkyard inspection now. They meet with us the off months that the junkyard review board does. So then we go discuss the different junkyard issues, applications, renewals, and all that. So, but other than that, I mean, my fellow legislators really give me the easiest job because I don't really have much to report every month. So. But I also sit on economic development, the insurance, forest, and parks committee, and I also sit on taxation, elections, and information technology. That would be all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Brian. Jerry, Carson Law.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I represent the town of Lewis and Leiden District Head. I'm chairman of Courts and Law Committee, Emergency Management, Codes, DA, Attorney, Probation, and Sheriff. And we have some lively ones occasionally. What the DA seen, we do not have a lot going on there. We meet every other month, just to kind of give a space for that. And what I'll do is bring you up to speed. I think some of the fellow legislators have heard it. Sheriff has ordered his new vehicles. They should be coming in a relatively timely. Radio system, we're still tweaking, trying to get it up to perfection. We're not 100% sure. We're shooting when we get full coverage, which the way the weather's been going this year, we don't know if leaves are going to be up in June or not. Might be a little bit later. We did have some trouble with consoles and stuff, and we were getting reports from people that sounded like tin cans from especially the sheriff's deputies, and they went back and recalibrated them to each individual dispatcher and seems to clear them out that problem. So we're making a little progress there. We did have, it wasn't a major issue. It looks like it's more etiquette with the radios on the start run. A lot of people stayed on dispatch channels instead of getting off and going to the private channels to do their discussions. Other than that, we're making good progress, and that's pretty much all I have.
Very good, Jerry. Thank you. Larry, Economic Development, Insurance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Larry Dahlhoff. I represent the counties of Western, Osceola, Montague, Pinckney, and Harrisburg. I'm chair of the Economic Development Committee, which oversees economic development, the planning department, parks and recreation and forestry, insurance, health insurance, and workers' compensation. Attorney McNichol reported the EPA has declared the Lewis County dairy property an eligible funding site. The county will ask the court to approve a temporary incidence of ownership that would allow legal access to the property while relieving the county of any financial responsibility. It being viable property for sale, the New York State DEC would apply to the EPA funds and would remove the 50-gallon drums. The EPA would conduct an environmental assessment estimated to cost $100,000. The economic development marketing campaign that was formulated and designed by the Page Group was publicly released. It will be followed up in 2 weeks. And Naturally Lewis clips have been posted to the website at naturallylewis.com, and they've been released to about 50 local and statewide news media outlets. Mike Levicker from the Sheriff's Department has distributed a statistical report on the snort run. There were 4,256 registered participants. The total estimate of people involved is about 7,000. There will be a follow-up meeting with all the stakeholders to discuss the event on 5/5/16, 10 a.m. at the Lewis County Chamber of Commerce office, with a goal toward improving overall safety. There were 7 complaints and 6 accidents, 5 of which were caused by the dusty conditions. All police agencies worked cooperatively. There were problems with parking, stating there were no spaces by 8 a.m. Over 2,000 vehicles were parked along the roads. The Barnes Corner snow pals have offered to donate an illegal UTV to the Sheriff's Department. The Sheriff would prefer that the unit was donated directly to the county and then assigned to his department. He was concerned about the occurrence of a conflict. County Attorney McNichol will follow up to determine the possibility of registering the donated machine to the Recreation Forestry and Training Department. In the past, the Sheriff's Department has been unsuccessful in having a UTV machine directly donated from dealer. The IDA has wrapped up the Barkier Brewery project this week, closed on a Trinity Ave land purchase, and also finalized the sale leaseback agreement for the equipment and made an initial payment on the equipment. Climax Manufacturing, we have reached out to over 15 different companies. USW has made similar number of contracts. The interest is not high. Our 1-month equipment lease payment expires on May 8th. On the 22nd of April, Frank Pace participated in two interview instructor candidates for the BOCES education classes that will start in the fall. A group of school superintendents and business owners meet each month for continued discussion to define classroom programs that will best fit the regional employer needs. The RE Energy biomass power plant in Lewis County has been placed offline and moved into standby mode due to financial losses caused by record low wholesale electricity prices. Layoffs are being avoided at this time due to a program available through New York State Department of Labor, called the Shared Work Program, which allows the RE Energy Lionsdale employees to work a reduced work schedule. I think it's 6 to 9 hours a week, and collect partial unemployment benefits. They were notified of this change on Monday, May 2nd. They will meet with representatives of the New York State Department of Labor May 5th. New program will take effect May 9th. Eric has provided the Economic Development Reserve funding report to all legislators. The only changes on the report are that we have incurred $8,000 of expenses for consulting and environmental evaluation of the business park site, and about $50,000 for the 1-month leasing for Climax Manufacturing equipment. The county attorney has received yet another FOIL request for a complete list of all ATV permit holders, 3-day and year permits, and permit information that is required to obtain the permit. These FOIL requests are continuous and ongoing. And that is my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Larry. Greg? taxation, election, IT.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm Craig Brennan. I represent District 3, the towns of Denmark and northern town of Lowville. As Mike just indicated, that I am chair of the Taxation Information Management Elections and Agriculture. I also serve on the Economic Development and Workmen's Compensation. I, like Brian, have a pretty easy job as a legislator in terms of committees, and primarily because my department heads in those departments perform superbly. Takes very little input on my part, and I can rely on them to get the job done and done well for each and every taxpayer. Adam has been working very diligently on trying to help provide internet service throughout Lewis County. He's working with Mohawk and with Dank so that we can, what is it, we're trying to get 50? The service that we were able to provide coming forward on the internet is how many gigs?
It would be anywhere from 15 to 50 megabytes.
Yeah, trying to get up to 50, which is going to make many people happy that haven't had service. It's very complicated, but Adam is on top of it. Candy is working with a SDG in real property along with Adam's assistants, and this is a company that provides services for the internet site that we provide to our customers. You can look up things like agricultural real estate and those types of things with this service. Currently, our service provider is limited, and this company is being used throughout New York State. They're gaining in clients all the time and providing better service. I'd also like to take this time to recognize Lions Falls Alive ladies. Where are you? Well, please stand up. These are the ladies that have provided this fine spread here in back of you for this evening, and thank you very, very much. This is unique to us. We've asked Phil to provide it at past meetings, but he hasn't. And then Donna Delhoff, Mary Fawcett, and this lady. Thank you. And I also want to thank Katie for hosting this for us. Thank you very much. And that's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Greg. Normally we have Greg Kultzer for transportation, solid waste. Greg was excused tonight. Craig or Dick, did you have a committee meeting, anything yet?
Actually, you're stuck with me again.
Dick, anything, please. Go ahead, Phil.
We're getting a new trailer.
I do have 3 motions, but I'll wait till the end on that. Regarding the highway, the CHIPS funding will be at the same level as last year, $1,007,000, but we will get an additional one-time paving yard fund of $390,000. They anticipate doing 11 miles of cold mix, 6 miles of hot mix, and surface treat 40 miles. That's something that we really got into a few years ago, the surface treating, and it increases the life of the road, they say, 5 years. So it's a good thing to be doing. As I said before, the highway garage remediation has been completed. Regarding our bridges, because of recent events, we've got concern about lead paint on bridges. So Stan Sampson, the deputy superintendent, said there is a way you can do what's called a quick test that will show you if the bridges have lead paint on them. We got 90 bridges. So we opted for that approach versus hiring ATL to go to 90 bridges and do a test. It would at least establish a baseline for us. It isn't state of the art, but we would know where potential problems are. Solid waste report. The last couple of meetings, we discussed the land that the solid waste facility is on regarding public access to it. Because of the configuration of the area, we felt like it would be prudent for us to put up no hunting and no firearms poster, which we were told Joan was okay with.
Yes.
We don't wanna prohibit our people from get on there, but it's not a acceptable place to have firearms on there. We're on, there are still fielding questions regarding clear bags and recycling. It's really early, but at this point in time, the recycling has gone up considerable. And obviously, it's early, it's not something that we could do a really good projection on, but it does tell us that our citizens are responding well to it and trying to do good. At Brian's urging, Pete has contacted Hamilton County. Hamilton County goes to Dank every day and goes back empty. So Pete is talking to them about working on a collaboration to maybe take our recyclables down to Oneida for us. It wouldn't save labor, but it would save the hauling and that. So he's working on that, and we thank Brian for bringing that up to him. Also, much to Pete's chagrin, we asked him to explore the possibility of an incinerator to produce power from our own garbage. So he's gonna look into that. I didn't bring that up when Dank was here because that would reduce our flow to them. So he's gonna look into that anyway. Probably we don't have enough volume, but it remains to be seen.
You may not have said it while Mr. Wright was here, but you said it in front of the cameras, and I'm sure he'll learn it real quick. Just to let you know.
Steve's over there too.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, the motions. The first motion is to accept all the asphalt bids, which is our custom. The asphalt bids came in on the 5th of April. We accept them all, and then we use the one that fits our needs, best needs, on depending on the location and the size of the road, because there's different mobilization fees and all that kind of stuff. So that gives him the opportunity to get the best bang for the buck. So I would make a motion to accept all our asphalt bids.
Moved by Phil, second by Jerry. Further discussion or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And the next motion for highway is to advertise for bids for a new tandem snowplow for a 2017 delivery, much the same as what you did last year, Craig. And again, that's part of their submitted equipment plan that they've given us. So they just go out for bids, and they would not accept delivery until 2017 when the budget funds would be available to pay for it. So I would make a motion to allow them to go out for bids.
Moved by Phil, second by Dick. Any other questions, comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And we have a solid waste motion. Part of their upgrading is to, they needed a new tandem axle roll-off trailer. They went out for bids. They only got one bid, but it's not uncommon apparently for that because it's a limited number of people that supply them. We have dealt with this company before, CEJJ Incorporated, and we had good success with them. Their bid was, again, this would be part of the upgrades for recycling, but also a backup for our existing roll-on. The bid is $69,635. It's from CEJJ Incorporated for a 50-yard tandem axle roll-off trailer. That's the motion.
Moved by Phil, second by Jerry. Questions, discussion? Brian?
I asked you the question before, so you might have misunderstood me. I thought the original plan was, because you just mentioned that it was for an upgraded recycling, I thought the original plan was that there was a 70-yard enclosed compacted trailer that was going to be purchased for the recycling. You're talking about a roll-off trailer that would not be utilized for that end of recycling. Is it just that they want that extra trailer in case the one breaks down so they can go back and forth to Krogan? Or Because,
It's a dual thing, Brian, and I might have inferred the recycling too much in the process.
okay,
The dual is that definitely have a backup, but until we get set up for
for, okay.
the proper configuration of the recycling activities, this would be
Okay.
used to go down there as well.
Yeah,
But
and I knew that it was concerned because we had trouble with the roll-off about 6 months ago, and they were down completely without one, so, okay.
I think that's what prompted that.
Okay.
And you were on the committee then.
Yes,
But I apologize if I
Okay.
referred recycling too much, but that would be part of it too.
okay.
Any other questions regarding Phil's motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
That's it.
Thanks, Phil. Good job. Dick Osville.
Yeah,
Good job when I stopped talking, right? Yeah.
I had hoped to have been granted all of Greg's time, but Phil just ate it all up again, so. Dick Chartrand, I represent about 98% of the people that live in the village of Lowell. And I'm the chairman of the hospital committee for the legislators, and I sat on the hospital board of managers as a voting member. Rocky and Andrea are my committee members, and they've been attending most of our meetings too as well. It's a unique situation because everybody wants this job, and so I have to bid on it every year. And so far, I've been successful to get it. We'll just see how it continues. It does keep you excited and up at night. First off, the auxiliary in the month of May has a geranium program, and that's going on right now with a pickup for the 26th and 27th. Their cost is $3 per plant. They're pretty decent plants, and I've taken part in it in the past. And encourage anybody that needs some geraniums for cemeteries or whatever, get a hold of one of the auxiliary members. You can do it right there at the hospital at the gift shop, and they'd be glad to take your orders. And then we had a whole bunch of stuff from Eric Birch, the CEO. We've gotten several documents back on the $6.58 million Central Care Provider Support Program for debt restructure. To date, they haven't come back and said anything specifically it can or can't be used for. So we're hoping this month, being May, we will get that, and so in June, I can update you on that. They're a little slow getting that back. We did get a $550,000 award for critical access hospital VAP pool, and we are submitting a plan on how the funds will be used. Two possible areas of upgrade that will qualify is OR equipment and Legionella disease preparedness. There's certain things you can apply for this grant for and get it, and those are two that we do. We're continuing to await word on nursing home funds for 2014 and 15. That'll total $8 million. We're still anticipating 2014 soon and 2015 before the end of the year. Again, the folks that handle this don't go out of their way to get information back to you. You get a phone call and about 3 days later the money shows up. We're working with St. Joe's on a clinically integrated network that would allow us to have a health coach and a patient navigator, and those are needed to support the ACLA agreement that we've got with Excellus and Medicare. We are expecting the CSEA membership at the hospital to have a vote. I believe it's next Monday, and the way it was going to be all the CSEAs, and my understanding now is, Liz, you want me to talk about it, or you want to talk about it? Okay. So from the hospital side, we're expecting the hospital union to vote next Monday. On the financial side, Jeff Hellinger reported that we had a gain of $598,943 versus a budgeted gain of $559,125. Our total year-to-date surplus is $819,189, which is a little below the budgeted surplus anticipated of $1,014,000. Our skilled nursing occupancy was down to just a little bit, to 92.7% versus 93% for the budget. So it's not that bad. We had a couple, 3 deaths, and it takes a while to backfill the deaths. And it is the first decline in 8 months, so things look positive there, even though we've got that little blip. There were a total of 1,031 ER visits for the month of March. That's above the current month budget. Acute admissions, total 102. That's the highest we've seen in 7 months. Observations, total 77 for the month of March, which is an all-time high. So some of the low stuff we were seeing in January and February, it seems to be cycling out now, and we're starting to pick up and getting back closer to where we thought we would be with some of that. Outpatient visits total 7,528 for the month of March. That was 11% over that budget. Outpatient visits were also at an all-time high. Transfers out of the ER were 19. That was the lowest level in 3 years. The volumes in the clinics is improving because we put in place a scheduling template that helps the physicians and the physicians' managers to better schedule the people and avoid no-shows and lost time. That budget's been submitted to New York State Department of Health for 2016-2017 needs. Mr. Hellinger's requested $5 million in that budget, and he's continuing to work on the transformation plan for our facility, which needs to be submitted to support the $5 million. We did receive $650,000 from VAPAP program in March, and he's expecting another $405,000 in April. And the meeting was held right at the end, so I don't believe it came, so it's the first part of May he's going to expect that. And last but not least, the 12th of March at Ridgeview Inn at 5 o'clock in the evening is the Nurses of Distinction Dinner. And I missed that due to being in the hospital last year, but I plan on making it this year. I would encourage everybody here to make it. That's a night where all those dedicated nurses who take care of us whenever we're in the hospital and meet all our needs are honored and appreciation paid for all their services. And the best way to show that is with a very positive turnout for that. That concludes my report, barring questions.
What was the date of that day?
May 12th. That's Thursday night, I believe.
The 2015 nursing home IGT, I think your word was we hope to get it by the end of the year.
Yep.
Have they given us indications that we'll get it by the
Yes.
in this current year?
I haven't gotten anything
You haven't seen anything yet?
What question are we answering? Who's the they you're talking about? You're talking about the state that funds that stuff down?
Yeah. Have we gotten any?
You're talking about the hospital?
I'm talking about the state.
You're talking about
You
the
haven't
state?
gotten
You haven't
anything,
seen
right,
it either?
Jenny?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Yeah, Jenny and I usually get the letter from the state, that's all.
That's the money's coming in and we'll be here soon.
Right.
Yeah, that one hasn't happened
We
yet.
get the letter saying they're gonna take the money,
Yeah,
that's what we
yeah,
get.
we aren't there yet. We have got a letter that said they expected it this year.
Okay.
That's what I was talking to.
Okay.
Yeah, no, when the letter comes, the money will be here shortly after that.
We know the 14th's coming.
14, same way, they've said we're gonna get it this year.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
it's the
So
same
they're
way.
both really in the same.
They're both in limbo until they come.
All right.
But the money has been agreed upon and that money is coming. It's just the month that it does come and the year that it comes.
Thanks.
Any other questions for Dick? Okay, thank you, Dick. Andrea, Public Health, Community Service.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I represent District 6, which is Watson, Town Watson, and the southern end of the village of Lawville. I am chairwoman of the Public Health Services and Community Services Board in the Public Health. I also sit on the Office of the Aging, DSS, and the Hospital Committee. For my public health report, the CDC's response to the Zika virus. Penn reported the state had approved the county's action plan for the preparedness for a potential outbreak. They are educating the local public, particularly community residents who have or are planning to travel to affected countries so they may make fully informed travel decision and plans. Public health is responsible to monitor anyone who may contract the Zika virus. The Public Health Emergency Preparedness Training will be held tomorrow. Legislators, department heads, town and villages have been invited to participate. The rabies clinics are going on, and everyone is encouraged to get their animals vaccinated at any of those clinics. Public Health has hired Megan Krieger as Public Health Specialist, mostly working on chronic disease. Public Health has received approximately $20,000 for disrupt planning activities for the first year. The funds will offset chronic disease programs and county expenses. Okay, I also have a motion. The motion is to authorize Penny Ingham to refill the Public Health Program Coordinator position due to the impending retirement of Elon Gruner, effective at the end of May.
Okay, moved by Andrea, second by Rocky. Discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried.
Okay, for the Community Services Board, the Northern Regional Center for Independent Living is hosting a walk for wellness on Thursday, March 12th, beginning at 4 p.m., starting at the Lava Fire Department. And it's also May is Mental Health Month. And Lewis County Suicide Coalition is hosting Light Up the Dark, a 5K walk run Saturday, May 14th at the Lewis County Fairgrounds. The Community Services Office assisted DSS in having local providers available for the DOL/DOH rapid response event for the Climax workers. Some local mental health providers gave 2 hour blocks of time to be available to the Climax workers who might need support. Community Coalition and Mountain View Prevention Services are hosting Addiction Does Not Discriminate. That is a community forum, which is held tonight at 6:30 p.m. at the Town Hall Theater. Lewis County Suicide Coalition was awarded the $3,500 grant. This money will be used for education and awareness activities in our county. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Andrew. County Manager report, Liz.
I'm Liz Swearingen, I'm the Chief Budget Officer for the county. I have 28 departments, and I report to 10 legislators, so I'll let your imagination just go wild over all that work that we did. Okay, I actually have 2 quick things. On May 9th, we do have an agreement with the CSEA to vote on retiree health care. This is going to be a union contract vote for the full contract for the hospital, and then we have 2 other contracts, the county one and the sheriff's, or not the road patrol, the jail. So each of ours, the county and the jail one, are basically, we're taking health care out of our existing contracts because they're not due up right now for negotiations. So there's going to be a vote on the 9th under 3 separate contracts. The language in the contract is that if you are going to be eligible for health care, you have to have worked for the county for 20 years and be 65 years of age. So if you retire before that, you will not be eligible for retiree health care. For people who are current retirees, there will be a voluntary option that you can opt out of the county. Oh, let me back up for a second and say never mind. Complicated. Opt out. If you are a current retiree, you have the option of opting out of the plan, of the county plan that you're currently on, which may be advantageous to some people who are, can go on an exchange, and because of their income, they can get the tax credit associated with that. So it's voluntary, it'd be an $8,000 a year payment. However, once you opt out, you cannot opt back in until you turn 65, at which time we would become the secondary health care. If this gets passed, we are agreeing to hold premium increases where they are for 6 months from the date of approval. So that is going to be voted on May 9th. We should have the results very quickly. So we'll let you know what happens with that. The other big project, just for those in the audience, the county embarked on a plan to basically revamp our entire finance and general ledger system and our HR and payroll system. So we're installing a 21st century computerized system that is going to make us extremely more efficient, and I won't say paperless, but we're going to take a dramatic leap into the 21st century. It's a very big project. We've got a core team of 10 people that are working a lot on this project. The heavy lifting starts now between June and October. We plan an end of October, early November go live for the general ledger, budgeting, purchasing, contracts management piece, and then we'll start payroll HR in August with a go live for that in April of 17. In addition to that activity, the same people have to be doing the 2017 budget in our old system. So we agreed this morning that we're going to accelerate putting the budget together. We're actually going to start in June of this year, and we need to be done, not formally done with all your votes, but I will have presentations and you'll know what the budget is by September, by the first part of September, because we can't be doing the budget and going live at the same time in the end of October, beginning of November. So we're going to be accelerating that. The core team has agreed to that, so just want to let you know.
I wonder why you did that in public, where we could have said anything in response.
It's the chief budget officer.
Turning into a politician, there.
Never. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Liz. County Treasurer's Report.
Hi, I'm Patty O'Brien, I'm your county treasurer, and my report will be much shorter than Phil Halfway, just so you know. The annual update document, the New York State annual update document was filed last week. The auditors were here the week before. They had their exit interview with Liz and I. There were no findings, which is good. And they will complete the audit this summer, and we'll file it in September. You have your normal balances, and I will just go through those. Special legislative contingency is $250,000. Contingency is $475,000. Capital data processing, $130,064. Capital equipment. Capital equipment is highway $166,265. Total county is $242,850. Sales tax is down a little this year, as you can see. First quarter came in at $2,013,397. The hospital is on time with their payments. So their balance is at $3,000,002. And the health insurance fund, again, is in dire straits, and we haven't gained any. But we are hoping that with the changes coming up June 1st, that we will start to gain, that claims will start to drop and premiums will start to take over. And that's where we're at. If you have any questions? Sure, Jerry, trying to make mine go long.
Any questions for Patty? Okay, thank you, Patty. I have a few items on my agenda here I'll let you know. First of all, I want to acknowledge Legislator Jerry King attended the municipal and electrical gas lines meeting in Cooperstown a couple of weeks ago. And it's our responsibility to have a board member there, and thank Jerry for attending. Thank you, Jerry. Our inter-county meeting was the 28th. Terry Clark and myself attended Saratoga. It's quite interesting because a lot of the items that are dear to and of concern to us are really being handled well, I would say, by NISAC. They informed us that all the counties seem to be on board regarding the effort to have the state take over cost of indigent defense. And the other thing that was a concern of us was state mandated an increase in salary for district attorney, and typically that's handled by the state. This year it's fallen on counties, and my investigations has revealed that they're saying that was an oversight, but needless to say, counties are taking it for granted. We're lobbying to make sure the state takes care of that mandated increase, and a lot of counties have done resolution, and we have one ourselves. We also heard from our state outreach director, Anna Rule, attended the intercounty meeting, and gave us an update on broadband. Next meeting is in Herkimer County, May 26th. Coming up next Tuesday is lobbying days for the Alliance for Clean Energy. They've asked us to come last year. Myself and Brian Mosher attended, and I think it's well worth it because they organize tours to see different senators and assemblymen, and you get a chance to talk to them personally. And in our case, we have Roaring Brook, Own Energy, and any clean energy really. It would include re-energy. That is lobbying to keep the state supporting these energy programs. So they've set up this day, which is next Tuesday, and if any other legislator would like to attend, would like at least a couple of us down there. We were requested by the Iowa Joel people. I got a phone call the other day, and they asked if a couple of us might come down and help them lobby for the state. So we can make it next Tuesday. Appreciate it.
Mr. Chairman, time?
It's an all-day affair. We started like 9 o'clock in the morning and end at 6 at night. I mean, they'll have you visiting like about 10 different offices.
They split us up in groups.
Okay.
So 5 of us hit 5 representatives, and another group of 5 hit another 5. It's a great place to be in environmentals.
But like I said, it is important in Lewis County. We've got so much invested in our wind turbines and solar, and that's what it's promoting. So I think you'd agree to that part, Brian.
Yes.
Okay. The other thing, time capsule. We're going to be coming around to collect our time capsule here within a couple days. And this is the last chance to get something in it. So far, Andrea's helped me out with a couple items from Otis Technology and somewhere else. And I have a couple of them from my area. But I would like to see anybody else if you've got something to put in this time capsule. It's an ammunition box. It'll be buried in the monument vault this June. So it's the monument to Fort Drum soldiers. But anyhow, we've got a couple days to come up with items if you can think of anything.
That flyer right there should.
I thought of that when I saw it, something like this. Something to recognize a business or something in your community that you'd like to see in 50 years. You know, I'm sure Phil will be there to explain what it's all about.
I'm surprised you didn't want to put me in the box.
Got you. Best I could do is your picture. I'd like to put this picture in the box. It's got our legislators and staff. But if you've got any other ideas, please, in the next couple of days, I'd appreciate it. And if somebody's going to Watertown to take it down this week, holler, because the guy wouldn't have to come get it. Okay. Liz explained about the union voting on the contract. If that does happen, it's gonna take legislator approval. So we would have to have a meeting in the month of May here. And one of the dates that we looked at, and I hope it might work for the majority views, is May 16th. And that, like I said, we have to ratify that vote shortly after it happens. And there is a couple other topics that we've been approached on as well, so we'd like to have a special meeting back in Loudon on May 16th. Would that, well, do you have a suggestion, or? Okay, would you like late morning or late afternoon?
Early morning.
That's a couple of meetings. That's 10, 11 o'clock,
That's a Monday, right?
May 16. Yep. Got it, that's,
If the vote passes, right?
yes, if the vote passes. Potentially, we have some other business that we could take care of as well.
And what time are you at right now?
We're looking at 11 o'clock. Everyone okay with that?
Might do some, we wanna make a motion?
Yeah, we should motion moved by Larry, set the next meeting for May 16th at 11 o'clock. Seconded by Phil. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. I believe that's it for my agenda. Okay, we go on to the Ways and Means report for Rule 7, Terry.
The Ways and Means Committee reports they have examined the claims presented for payment in the total amount of $938,175.13 and recommend that they be audited and allow for the amounts claimed. That's signed by the entire committee.
And it's moved by Brian, second by Larry. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolutions?
First resolution is auditing and allowing the claims in the total of $938,175.13.
Moved by Craig, second by Brian. Roll call, please, Terry.
Brennan?
Yes.
Chartran?
Yes.
Dahlhoff?
Yes.
Hathaway?
Yes.
King?
Yes.
Mowerhand?
Yes.
Mosier?
Yes.
Fawcett?
Yes.
Tabor.
Yes.
Authorizing the agreement between the county and Dolan Construction.
Moved by Phil, second by Jerry. Discussion? All in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To request increased state funding for agencies who serve the developmentally disabled.
Moved by Andrea, second by Brian. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To appropriate and transfer funds, non-departmental.
Moved by Phil, second by Jerry. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To appropriate funds, community services.
Moved by Andrea, second by Rocky. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
There's one change in this, in that first paragraph, to set the fee for passport or pistol permit photos provided by Lewis County Clerk's Office. It should say pistol license applications. Yes, instead of permit.
You need that amended, or
No,
just a top type of correction? Okay. Motion to accept the resolution moved by Brian, second by Jerry. Discussion. Craig.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I received a phone call from a businessman in the community in Lowville that does this for a living. And I understand his objection, and my comment would be that the county shouldn't be in the business of taking business away from retail. Understanding fully that it's designed as a convenience, it's still taking revenues away from the community, and we're constantly trying to help our businesses survive.
Yes, Craig was kind enough to forewarn me that he had concerns about this. So I discussed it further with the county clerk. And basically we do 130 passports and about 130 pistol permits a year. We're talking 260 total that could potentially apply to this. But all of those applications say you need to have pictures when you come in. We only address this when people said, well, you know, it'd be kind of nice, because they forgot to bring their pictures with them, so they leave and go to Walmart or wherever, get their picture and come back, and they said, well, it would be nice if you could do that here. The percentage of the people that do that is very minimal, probably. I mean, it's not like we keep numbers on it, but even if it was 10%, we would be bringing in $260 a year from these people. And we would be taking away $260 from Walmart, Kenny's, and anyone else that does that. We didn't think that was a very big impact. Even if we did every one of them, it's only $2,600 that all these other places would be losing, all of them combined. So we felt like, as a convenience for our constituents, that it might be a good idea to do this. The cost of the equipment is basically $260. We've got a resolution to purchase that equipment, so that would be predicated on this resolution passing. So it's not like we're trying to make a lot of money on it. It's strictly a convenience thing for our constituents, and that was the way we looked at it. And maybe Dick and Jerry want to add something to this, or Linda, you know?
I guess one of the things with me is we know what they were charging roughly, the other ones.
It was mentioned to me, but
And, I mean, I guess one of my things is it's above what other people charge.
not according to what I was told today. It's $15 less than the individual that called me.
Than one of the people.
Yeah, well, he's a businessman, that's what he does.
Okay, one of the people, but you can also get it cheaper elsewhere, and we thought we were staying above everybody to force them to use the ones they usually used, and if you want a convenience, you pay, you need to pay more for it. I mean, that's how I kind of based mine.
Yeah, I also got the same comment you got. And I tried to explain to the individual that we're not advertising, therefore we're not going out to the public and advertising this. We talked about it. It was a request from people who come in and get pistol permits and passports and stuff and get there without a photo, especially pistol permits. And normally, my understanding, like with the passport photos, this is going to be like a DMV photo, if you will. Most people want a decent photo on the passport. They're going to go someplace that has better quality. And that was the other thing I tried to explain to the individual, was his quality will win him a majority of these photos for passports. So the impact is, I'm trying to outweigh the impact to the business to the convenience to 27,000 taxpayers, I guess is what I'm trying to figure out. And that's kind of how we looked at it.
And I fully understand that we need to legislate in a fashion that represents the majority of the taxpayers. But again, I think that if we start down that road where we're competing with local businesses, if we're doing it and arbitrarily we'll say $10, I think that's the number I heard, it won't take long for word of mouth to tell everybody, why would you go to this business and pay 25 when we can do it here at the county for 10? I feel we're competing with business, and our biggest problem here is jobs and economic development. I got a phone call yesterday that a business in Denmark just closed their doors, 11 employees out of work. So it's not like we can afford to take money from our businesses. That's just my feeling on it. And I think that as more people hear about this for $10, they're gonna say, hey, I'm going where it's cheaper. Regardless of quality of picture, I mean, how big is the difference?
Would it help the situation if we raise the price to $25? Would that even the?
Well, it's on the application that they're required to have a photograph, am I correct?
Yes.
So when they come to you to file that application and apply for that permit, they're fully aware that they have to have a photograph. So if they don't, then the onus is on them. They're the ones that failed to get it ahead of time. So we're trying to make it convenient for a few that don't take responsibility to have everything ready. It's like homework at school. If you don't bring your homework back to school with you the day after it's assigned, should you be given that homework? That's all. I just think it's an unfair practice for business, and government is not supposed to be in the business of doing retail. Not supposed to.
Would it help, how about if we made it $30, and it would be cheaper to get it outside?
I think we should.
I don't know, you can call for a vote.
It's a courtesy, I believe, to the people who forget their photo. That's how I look at
You
it.
can picture you and I doing that, can't you?
You got it.
Okay,
And I think it should be a minimal, fee.
Are there any other comments, or would somebody like to, we want to vote on this, or would somebody like to move to amend?
I make a motion to call for the vote.
Okay, motion to call for the vote, second. Second by Phil, all in favor of going to a vote right now, say aye. Opposed? Ryan's
And aye.
opposed. Ryan and Craig are opposed to having a vote immediately. We will go to a vote now, all in favor of the resolution as stated, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
There was no amendment on the resolution, right?
No.
Okay, so there was only one vote, right?
Correct.
Brian and Craig were opposed, right?
Correct.
Thank you.
So the resolution passes.
Amending compensation plan with reference to county clerk.
Moved by Jerry, second by Phil. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Calling on the state legislature and governor to pass a chapter amendment to the 2016-17 state budget to require the state to pay the cost of the state mandated district attorney pay increase.
Moved by Jerry, second by Larry. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Amending compensation plan with reference to Department of Highways and Solid Waste.
Moved by Craig, second by Larry. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To appropriate funds, Transportation Department.
Moved by Ryan, second by Jerry. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Amending resolution number 130, appointing member to Lewis County General Hospital Board of Directors, or Board of Managers, I'm sorry.
Moved by Ryan, second by Dick. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing agreement between Evo Gov and the county.
Moved by Craig, second by Jerry. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Approving increase in weekly hours of nutrition services coordinator, registered dietitian in Office for Aging, and authorizing a memorandum of understanding by and between the county and the Lewis County General Hospital for registered dietitians per diem hourly services.
Moved by Larry, second by Jerry. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing agreement between Office for Aging and Brogan Adult Care Facility.
Moved by Andrea, second by Rocky. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing agreement between New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services and Probation Department for free trial release alternatives to incarceration.
Moved by Larry, second by Jerry. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing amendment to contract with county and the state Office of Indigent Legal Services for extension of grant distribution number 3.
Moved by Brian, second by Rocky. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing agreement between Public Health and Jefferson County Public Health.
Moved by Jerry, second by Brian. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To authorize an agreement between the county and United Healthcare of New York.
Moved by Larry, second by Andrea. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Amend the compensation plan with reference to Recreation, Forestry, and Parks Department.
Moved by Larry, second by Brian. Discussion?
Does this give us more than we had last year?
It's only for a month, and it finishes up the forest inventory by the same time it started it when we were done last year.
No. Thank you.
Other comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To appropriate funds, Sheriff's Department.
Moved by Brian, second by Joan. Wake up, people. Second by Jerry. Oh, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To appropriate funds, Sheriff's Department.
Moved by Jerry, second by Larry. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Amend the compensation plan with reference to Sheriff's Department.
Moved by Dick, second by Jerry. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing discharge of mortgage, Sandra Kukowski.
Moved by Larry, second by Craig. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing discharge of mortgage, Michael Martin.
Moved by Phil, second by Rocky. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing discharge of mortgage, Brian and Sherry Stay.
Moved by Dick, second by Brian. Discussion?
Yeah, do they have a mortgage burning celebration that we're invited to?
I don't know if anybody dared ask. Any other comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing an amended memorandum of agreement between the Department of Social Services and Transitional Living Services in Northern New York.
Moved by Andrea, second by Jerry. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing agreement between the Department of Social Services and Cornell Cooperative Extension, Lewis County.
Moved by Andrea, second by Rocky. Discussion? Jerry?
Got one question, where does the money come from? Is that coming from us, or?
That's 25%.
25%.
25% county.
Other questions, comments?
Is this done annually? Is that about the
We
same?
started this program last year. Actually, Kelly's here if you want to hear anything about it, but,
Hi, I'm Kelly Combs, I'm the parent educator. We started this program September of 2015. Prior to that, it had been a part-time program through Jefferson County Criminal Public Extension, and then we made it a full-time here, working with DSS, providing home visits for families in chaos.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Any other questions? All in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing Authorizing agreement between Department of Social Services and Opportunities for Homeless Apartment Initiative.
Moved by Dick, second by Jerry, discussion. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Carried.
Appointing members to Traffic Safety Board.
Moved by Brian, second by Craig, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing the agreement between county and WWNY 7 News Box 28 for the public transportation system advertising campaign.
Moved by Larry, second by Rocky, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing the agreement between county and Black Broadcasting Group for a public transportation system radio station advertising.
Moved by Larry, second by Brian, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing an amended financial term sheet for payment in lieu of tax agreement by and among the County Industrial Development Agency.
Moved by Dick, second by Jerry, discussion. Phil? Good question?
I had real reservations about this initially, and I just wanted to credit Joan and thank her for getting that escalator in there, because that made a big difference in my qualms and in the county and the other people's reimbursement for this. So I just want to thank Joan for bringing that hard out again.
Thank you, Phil.
Any other comments?
Joan, this doesn't include how the percentage each tax year addition.
No.
It's
We're
still
gonna try to
being
work that out.
discussed, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other comments? All in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing appointments to Jefferson Lewis Workforce Development Board.
Moved by Larry, second by Brian, discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Late resolutions,
We have that one passed out.
198.
Yeah, I got one.
Oh, we got one.
I have it.
Mr. Chairman.
I think we
Want to share them with you?
No, I don't.
Okay, thank
To appropriate funds, county clerk.
you. Moved by Jerry, second by Rocky, discussion. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing agreement between county and Thousand Islands Area Habitat for Humanity and transfer of delinquent tax foreclosed parcel for rehabilitation under Habitat for Humanity's program.
Moved by Craig, second by Larry, discussion.
What were the back taxes on the parcel? Do you know what they were?
I have that information. I have that for the, somewhere here. For the 3 years, the actual original tax bills for the village, school, and county came to $5,363.39. With the interest and penalties, it came to $6,430.67.
Any other questions or comments? Guess the one I would emphasize, I did hear previously at our committee level meeting that the goal is to put this home back on the tax rolls to an eligible person that's able to pay them, correct?
Absolutely.
One comment, Terry, it's in the Seaville Town West term, but in section 1, the second to the last paragraph, you have this as the final term.
Zoning.
So I don't know.
Yes. Good
Do
catch.
you need an amendment for that?
Is it,
It's the town of Western. We had it correct up top, but we didn't fix it at the bottom, so.
So, do we need to amend that, or is that just a clerical?
clerical, Terry? Would you like to amend it? Or Joe?
Well, it's looks, I mean, you can see that it's a clerical error, I would say. It's in
The numbers
the
match.
resolution of town of West Curran. We would just correct that before any
Okay,
copies went out.
okay. Any other comments or questions on the resolution? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carries. Congratulations. You got a home to take care of.
Could be my new rectory when we move down there.
You got your work cut out for you, brother.
And thank you for hosting us tonight, we appreciate it.
Fixing date of public hearing on additions to the ATV trail system.
Moved by Larry, second by Dick. Discussion. Larry, what's this? Change?
This is to incorporate these parcels into the North County ATV trail system, but before we can do that, we need to hold a public hearing.
Okay.
If I can,
Yeah, it was supposed to be today, tonight, but the notice didn't get in the paper.
Comment, Joan?
Yeah, we had this last month, but we failed to get the notice in the paper, so we're bringing it again.
But there has been one of the parcels that was deleted
And we did
from the
pull that in
list.
the parcels from the prior one.
So do we want to vote on this resolution as is? Okay. What's that, Larry? Comment?
Jerry was looking at it once. It's just to fix the date.
Right, okay, the second date. Any other comments? All in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to add a comment. I talked with a local businessman today. He pulled me aside to tell me that as a result of the snort run, he sold as many ATVs in that 2-week period leading up to it as he typically does in 6 months. And his regional rep from Polaris told him that the same was true of 2 other local dealers. So that's the kind of impact that this has, and it was their feeling that this could actually become a national event. That's the kind of momentum the snort run is gaining, and the businessmen are very happy. And that was from Gamble's, Steve.
Thank you, Craig.
You're welcome.
Other business. Proclamations, Terry?
Proclamation to declare May as Mental Health Month. Whereas mental health is essential to everyone's overall health and well-being, and all Americans experience times of difficulty and stress in their lives, prevention is an effective way to reduce the burden of mental illnesses. There is a strong body of research that supports specific tools that all Americans can use to better handle challenges and protect their health and well-being. Mental illnesses are real and prevalent in our nation. Whereas with early and effective treatment, those individuals with mental illnesses can recover and lead full, productive lives. Each business, school, government agency, healthcare provider, organization, and citizen shares the burden of mental illnesses and has a responsibility to promote mental wellness and support prevention efforts. Now therefore, Michael Taball, on behalf of the Board of Legislators, proclaimed May as Mental Health Month in Lewis County and calls upon the citizens, government agencies, public and private institutions, businesses, and schools to recommit our community to increasing awareness and understanding of mental health, the steps our citizens can take to protect their mental health, and the need for appropriate and accessible services for all people with mental illnesses at all stages, and especially before stage 4. That's one proclamation. Another proclamation is for Foster Parent Recognition Month. The family, serving as the primary source of love, identity, self-esteem, and support, is the very foundation of our communities and our nation. In Lewis County, in the state of New York, there are children and youth in foster care being provided with safe, secure, and stable home along with the compassion and nurture of a foster family. All young people in foster care need a meaningful connection to a caring adult who becomes a supportive and lasting presence in their lives. Foster, kinship, and adoptive families who open their homes and hearts and support children whose families are in crisis play a vital role in helping children and families heal and reconnect, thereby launching young people into successful adulthood. Dedicated foster families frequently adopt foster children, resulting in a greater need for more foster families. There are numerous individuals, public and private organizations who work to increase public awareness of the needs of children in and living in foster care, as well as the enduring and valuable contribution of foster parents and the foster care system is only as good as those who choose to be part of it. I, Michael A. Taball, on behalf of the chairman of the board, proclaim May as Foster Parent Recognition Month and urge all citizens to come forward and do something positive that will help change a lifetime for children and youth in foster care. I further recognize and thank the following Lewis County foster parents for their commitment and dedication to our foster children: Cynthia and Chris Lacombe, Hope Graves, Kara and Morris McIntosh, Lisa and Joshua Mosier, Charlene and Jeremy Knopscher, Wade and Leslie Leindecker, Danielle and Brian Graves, and Marcia and Arlen Roden. One last proclamation. By the virtue of authority vested in me, as chairman of the board of legislators, Michael Taball proclaims the week of May 9 through May 13 as National Nursing Home Week. In the county of Lewis, we recognize the dedicated, competent, and caring healthcare workers that are employed at Lewis County General Hospital and residential healthcare facility. We dedicate this week to pay special honor for their service to our community. And that concludes.
Okay, do we have any other business? Liz, you had mentioned executive session, we don't need it tonight. Thank you. Do we have any?
No, I'm just gonna make a motion.
Any refreshments left?
Made the motion that we adjourn.
Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn then?
So moved.
By Craig, second by Larry. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? We are adjourned.
Plenty of food back